But that whole entire communication device stuff, where the max out is.
And in exchange for that, as to counts 3 and 4 in that case, the accessory after the fact to murder in the first degree, you're going to peli no contest to both of those. That quiet nod sealed his homie's fate. YNW Bortlen didn't just take a plea. He handed prosecutors the keys to Melly's death row cell. After years riding side by side, Bortlen chose freedom and stood in court to apologize. But that apology means nothing in the streets, and the repercussions for crossing Melly might be far from over. The ultimate finesse, how the feds turned a soldier into a snitch. What went down in that Broward County courtroom wasn't just another plea hearing. It was straight-up psychological warfare at its finest, showing how the system can break even the most solid cats when they dangle freedom in front of someone facing multiple life bids. The feds had been playing chess while these young bulls thought they were playing checkers, setting up a divide-and-conquer strategy that would eventually turn day ones into enemies and brothers into witnesses. The charges Bortlen was originally facing read like a federal RICO indictment designed to guarantee he'd never see the streets again. 2 first-degree murder charges, witness tampering, directing criminal gang activities, conspiracy to intimidate witnesses, and unlawful use of communication devices. Basically, enough firepower to put him under the jail for the rest of his natural life, and then some. The mathematics of those potential sentences would make any rational person reconsider their loyalty when death is on the table. The psychological pressure campaign had been building for years, slowly chipping away at Bortlen's resolve through a calculated series of moves designed to break his spirit and turn him against his co-defender. While Melly was locked down in solitary confinement for years, dealing with COVID infections and systematic psychological abuse, Bortlen was getting tastes of freedom through house arrest that reminded him what life could be like outside the system. This differential treatment wasn't accidental. It was strategic manipulation designed to create resentment and desperation. And in exchange for all of that, the state has offered that I would adjudicate you guilty and sentence you to the bottom of your sentencing guidelines, which is 195.45 months, about 16. It's a shade over 16 years and 3 months. The deal they offered was so sweet, it almost seemed too good to be true, transforming potential life sentences into roughly 16 years with time-served credits that could have him back on the block in about a decade. This wasn't just generosity from prosecutors. It was a calculated investment in securing testimony that could guarantee Melly gets the needle. The state was essentially saying they'd rather let Thesmal fish swim free if it meant landing the big catch, and Bortlen represented their best shot at securing the conviction they'd been chasing for years. The cooperation requirements attached to this deal weren't just about admitting guilt to lesser charges. They demanded complete transparency about everything new regarding the October 26, 2018 incident that left sack chaser and juvie dead. Legal experts understand that cooperation agreements required defendants to provide detailed accounts of planning, execution, and cover-up activities that could directly contradict co-defendants' defense strategies. This meant Bortlen would be legally obligated to provide information that could put his former best friend on death row. The timing of this offer represented masterful prosecutorial strategy, coming just 1 day before Bortlen. His trial was scheduled to begin and creating maximum pressure with minimum time for consultation or coordination with Melly's defense team. This strategic timing forced Bortlen to make a life-altering decision in isolation without the ability to develop unified defense strategies that might have benefited both defendants. The prosecution knew exactly what they're doing, creating conditions where survival instincts would override loyalty bonds. But that ain't easy when you're looking at all that time. 16 years is long, too, but that's better than life. Only thing bad about Bort is I think he'd been out on bail the whole time. The financial reality of fighting. These charges also played a crucial role in breaking down Bortlen's resistance. Defending against charges of this magnitude requires millions of dollars with no guarantee of success and every real possibility that conviction would result in execution. For someone without unlimited resources, the prospect of bankrupting family members while still facing potential death sentences made cooperation seem like the only rational path to survival. The culture's reaction was swift and brutal, with the hood immediately labeling Bortlen as the ultimate rat for violating sacred codes about solidarity and never cooperating with law enforcement under any circumstances. Social media erupted with debates about loyalty versus survival with hashtags like Bortlenisa rat trending alongside discussions about what real cats would do in similar situations. The community's response reflected deeply held beliefs about maintaining solidarity even when facing extreme personal consequences. So, Mr. Henry, do you have any questions for me about the maximum possible penalties involved and what the state's offer is to you as we're talking about it right now? The requirement for complete honesty and cooperation agreements creates legal obligations that extend far beyond simple testimony. Bortlen would be bound by federal perjury laws to provide accurate information about all aspects of the alleged crimes, meaning even if he wanted to minimize Melly's involvement, he'd be legally required to tell the complete truth about everything he witnessed and participated in. This requirement essentially transformed him from co-defendant to star witness for the prosecution. The psychological impact on Melly, who had been maintaining his innocence while enduring years of solitary confinement, cannot be calculated in simple terms. Watching his day one accept a cooperation deal must have felt like the ultimate betrayal after years of assuming they would face their charges together and maintain their solidarity regardless of consequences. The transformation of his closest friend from ally to potential executioner represents a level of personal devastation that goes beyond legal strategy into fundamental questions about trust in human nature. The precedent set by this cooperation deal has created ripple effects throughout the hip-hop community. So their artists and industry professionals observe how effectively divide and conquer strategies can break up even the strongest partnerships. Legal experts worry that the success of this approach could encourage prosecutors to use similar tactics in future high-profile cases involving multiple defendants, potentially eroding the culture's traditional emphasis on loyalty and mutual support when facing legal challenges. And that's a heavy choice for anyone. And that's why this news has people on social media debating nonstop. Some people see YNW Bortlen as somebody who's been quiet for too long, and they believe that he a flip on Melly to save himself. The mathematics of betrayal ultimately came down to cold calculations about survival versus loyalty, with Bortlen choosing a path that prioritizes personal freedom over cultural values and long-term relationships. His decision represents a fundamental shift in how some individuals approach loyalty when facing extreme consequences, suggesting that even the strongest bonds can be broken under sufficient pressure from the criminal justice system. How two brothers from the trenches became enemies. The destruction of the bond between Melly and Bortlen cuts deeper than just business partnerships or casual friendships. These cats had been tight since they were young bulls running around G. Ford's roughest blocks, sharing everything from struggle meals when the lights got cut off to dreams of making it out. The hood through music. Their connection was forged in the type of environment where having someone you could trust completely often meant the difference between making it home safe or becoming another statistic. Growing up in G. Ford meant navigating a world where loyalty wasn't just preferred. It was essential for survival in a community where opportunities were scarce and dangers were constant. This small Florida town of about 10,000 residents has been dealing with economic struggles, limited resources, and social problems that force young people to form tight bonds that often determine their entire life trajectory. In this environment, the relationship between Melly and Bortlen represented something sacred, a partnership that was supposed to survive any outside pressure or adversity. Their childhood was marked by the kind of shared experiences that create unbreakable bonds. Sneaking out of hit corner stores when they had a few dollars scraped together, protecting each other from older kids who tried to bully them, and spending countless hours freestyling on front porches while dreaming about escape routes from poverty. The environment that shaped their friendship was one where personal loyalty often superseded everything else, creating moral frameworks that valued solidarity over cooperation with authority figures, who were often viewed as external threats rather than sources of help. This, why a lot of people go to Miami. They know for a fact that the streets in Miami, they shutting it down, man. It's lit out there. It's popping. You want y'all to look at that, man. And we gotta jump back to the Melly case because Melly, I know for a fact Melly is innocent. The early days of their musical collaboration were built on genuine chemistry and shared vision that went far beyond business calculations or industry connections. When they started making music together as teenagers, it wasn't about record deals or commercial success. It was about expressing their experiences and creating something beautiful out of the harsh realities they'd been living through since childhood. Their artistic partners,